I was halfway out the back door, steaks on a tray, when I heard her say it. "I'm serious," Laurel said, swirling her wine. "This marriage? Joke. Alan's so out of touch. He still thinks I need him to run the business. Bless him." I froze behind the deck post, heart thudding in my chest. Her voice carried straight through the glass. Jamie snorted. "He really believes he's still the boss?" Carla laughed. "Girl, you could do better blindfolded," Deb chimed in. "Just cut him loose already." They were sitting around the fire pit I had built with my own hands, drinking the wine I stocked under the pergola I damn near broke my back to finish before her birthday last year. The steak started to cool in my hand, but I couldn't move. I just stood there, listening to them rip me apart like I was some clueless idiot they had to babysit. "Don't worry," Laurel said, smiling. "We'll be rid of him soon, just waiting for the timing." I swear my vision narrowed. Every smug chuckle felt like a slap. I thought back to the first year of the company, me pulling 16-hour days while she networked at wine mixers and weekend retreats. I floated loans on my credit. I pounded nails while she handed out business cards. I never once threw it in her face. And here she was, rewriting the whole damn story with a Cabernet in hand. Quick note, before listening further, share which city or country you're watching from. I stepped back inside, placed the tray on the counter, and took a breath. My hands were shaking, but I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction. I slid open the doors and walked out like I hadn't heard a word. She blinked when she saw me. "Alan, perfect timing. You brought the—" "Yeah," I cut her off, setting the stakes on the table. "Why wait till next year? You think you're so far above me? Let's end it tonight." Silence hit like a thunderclap. Carla's wine glass hovered midair. Jamie looked away. Deb's eyes went wide. Laurel's smile vanished. She blinked like I'd slapped her. I didn't wait for her to answer. I turned around, walked back inside, packed a duffel bag, and hit the road. Couple hours later, my phone buzzed. It was Jamie. "You were right to walk," she wrote. "I should have told you months ago. You built that company." She just got loud. I stared at the screen, then tossed the phone onto the passenger seat and kept driving. I slept like garbage that night. Buzzing lights, pillows that felt like gym mats, and a towel so thin it didn't even bother drying me. Still better than sharing a bed with someone plotting my exit like a quarterly budget cut. Next morning, I sat on the edge of that stiff mattress and called Roger. He picked up right away. "Alan, you good?" "No," I said. "Need a favor? Real fast." Roger and I had done jobs together for years. He wasn't just a CPA, he was a bloodhound with spreadsheets. "I need you to pull our books," I said. "Everything. I've got a bad feeling." "Got it. I'll circle back in a few." I paced the parking lot for hours. Sun beat down, people came and went with their plastic bags and gas station coffees. I stared at the sky like it might give me answers. Roger called at 4. His voice was tight. "Alan, you know she's been siphoning money, right?" "What?" "She set up a shell, Aurora Consults, same initials. Been rerouting select clients there. The income's clean, legal on paper, but the intent? Sketchy as hell. I had to sit down on the curb. My knees just gave out. She told the accountant you were stepping back. Stress-related leave. There's email trails." I nearly threw my phone into traffic. "Jesus Christ, Roger!" "That's not all. A few vendor invoices were double-coded. She's been building her own accounts for months. She planned this," I muttered. "Alan, you need to act fast before anything gets locked down or transferred." I hung up without answering. My hand was shaking, but my head was clear for the first time in weeks. Later that night, Jamie messaged me again. "You still want the truth?" she wrote. "I've got recordings." I didn't know how deep it went until now. I told her to send them. She did. First one was Laurel at some mixer or office event. You could hear the clinking of glasses, music in the background. "Alan has no idea," she was saying. "We've already drafted the new logo. I'll tell him after I secure the big job from Sunpoint." Sunpoint. That was mine. I brought them in. I spent 6 months building that relationship. Took their guy fishing, drove to their HQ twice, pitched the whole damn package myself. And she was planning to poach it. I called Roger back. "Lock her out," I said. "Lock her out of every system, every shared login. Treat her like she's a breach risk." "She's already moved on," he said. "She's gone," I replied. I just didn't see it. Half an hour later, my phone lit up again. This time, it was my son, Eric. "Hey, Dad, you all right?" I closed my eyes. "Yeah, why?" Mom says you're taking time off, said you're burnt out or something. Is everything okay? So she'd started the smear campaign, faster than I expected. Eric, I said, you remember who built the office you work in, right? That conference room table, those skylights? Of course, you did all that. He paused. Why? What's going on? Because she's trying to erase that, rebrand me as the guy who can't keep up. There was a long silence. She said you were tired, he muttered, that you needed rest. Don't buy it, I said. Not for a second. He let out a breath. I knew something felt off. You're not the one who quits. Ever. I didn't say anything back. Didn't need to. He knew. After the call, I sat on the motel bed and stared at the ceiling. The air conditioner rattled like it was full of gravel. I thought about every night I'd stayed late drawing up contracts while she was out, building relationships. About every time she pushed for more control and I gave it, thinking it was partnership. All while she was drafting a whole new company behind my back. The worst part wasn't even the betrayal. It was how methodical it was, like I was just a box to check off before launch. Later that week, Jamie texted me a location and a time. Target parking lot, 7 p.m. Come alone, no drama. I pulled in early and parked 2 rows over from the garden center. She was already there, sitting in her Civic with the engine off and the windows cracked. I walked up slow, trying not to spook her. She rolled down the window and handed me a manila folder and a flash drive. I can't carry it anymore, she said. It's all there. Emails, texts, screenshots. She even named the file. What file? Phase out plan. She calls it Project Solo. I didn't say anything, just stared at the folder. My hands didn't even shake this time. She's been planning this for over a year, Jamie went on. She told Carla the final step would be convincing the staff you were just tired. Like, mentally out of it. I opened the folder right there under the streetlight. First page was a printed calendar, dates marked with notes like prep Deb for Allen exit and set up HR meeting, blame stress. She had a rollout plan, I muttered. Jamie nodded. Keep reading. Next was a section titled Messaging Strategy. First bullet point, rebrand Allen as traditionalist, out of touch with modern market. Highlight Laurel as progressive, adaptive. I laughed out loud. Traditionalist? I built our damn website, ran every ad campaign for 3 years. She was still handing out trifolds at trade expos when I was pushing SEO. I know, Jamie said. That's why I called you. None of it's true. Then I hit the employee breakdown page, a list of our team with notes next to each name. Deb, insecure, loyal to power. Matt, skeptical, needs incentive. Eric, too loyal to dad. Work on emotional angle. That one hit like a punch to the chest. She was going to use my own son, I said quietly. Jamie didn't respond. I flipped through more pages. Password screenshots, social media drafts for the new brand, a draft email to clients announcing my voluntary transition to emeritus role. She'd already written the goodbye message I never agreed to send. Then came the text thread that killed the last ounce of doubt I had left. Laurel to Carla. He thinks loyalty matters more than leverage. That's why I'll win. I didn't even finish reading. Just closed the folder and stepped back. Thank you, I said to Jamie. I mean it. I waited too long, she said. I just didn't think she'd go this far. She already did, I said. Now it's my turn. That night, I sat on the motel bed with the flash drive loaded up on my laptop. I went through every file, every text, every screenshot. No emotion, just fact-checking. She'd been moving behind the scenes like a hostile CEO gunning for a takeover, and she'd underestimated how fast I'd hit back. I opened my email and wrote to our attorney, Jenna Martinez. Subject line, fireproof me. Attached everything. The recordings, the folder, every receipt of betrayal I had. She replied in under 10 minutes. Come in tomorrow at 9. Bring originals. This is bigger than divorce. I closed my laptop, stood up, and stared at my reflection in the motel mirror. I didn't see a broken man. I saw a builder, and it was time to tear the rod out by the roots. Next morning, I showed up 10 minutes before the meeting Jamie told me about. I wore dark jeans and a collared shirt, no tie, no smile, just a folder under my arm and fire in my chest. Laurel's car was parked in her usual spot. I took the side entrance. Didn't need to make a scene in the front lobby. I knew the timing, knew the room, knew exactly where she'd be sitting. I walked in without knocking. She was mid-pitch, standing by the whiteboard, gesturing toward some branding mock-up, like it meant anything. Across from her sat a tall guy in a sport coat and glasses. Sunpoint Solar's regional VP, Klein. She turned, blinking fast. "Alan, what are you—" I didn't look at her. I looked straight at Klein. "Good morning, Mr. Klein. I'm Alan Macklin, co-owner of this firm." He stood halfway, confused. Yes, we met briefly last year. Appreciate you coming in. I'm gonna make this real simple. This pitch." I nodded toward the board. "It's part of a personal business plan Laurel here has no legal right to pursue." "Alan," she snapped, "you are embarrassing yourself." I stepped forward and handed him the folder. Inside are documents proving her intent to take this contract under a shell company, Aurora Consults. You sign anything with her, you're stepping into a legal minefield. Klein flipped the folder open, read the first few lines. His face didn't move, but his body did. He stood up, slow and stiff. Laurel's voice cracked. "He's confused. I can explain." Klein closed the folder. "I think we'll revisit this another time," he said. Then he turned and walked out without shaking either of our hands. Laurel rushed after him, whispering his name, heels clicking down the hall like panic itself. I stayed behind, looked around the office. Every desk, every mounted blueprint, the break room fridge I'd filled every Friday with Gatorades and frozen taquitos when the crew stayed late. She'd turned it into a stage for a scam. Jamie peeked around the door. She didn't say anything, just gave a single nod and disappeared again. I pulled out my phone and called Jenna. "It's go time," I said. She filed the injunction by lunch. By 3 p.m., Laurel was locked out of all company financial systems. Her email shut down. Office keycard deactivated. IT wiped her laptop before she made it back from chasing Klein. I sat in my truck outside, watching her try to badge in through the glass front doors. Didn't work. She knocked twice, then slammed her hand against the handle. The office manager ignored her. Court date came through within the hour. Jenna texted, "We're on the docket, no more hiding." Everything we'd kept quiet was about to go public. No more whispers, no more positioning, no more fake smiles in the lobby. She picked the battlefield. I just brought the truth to it. The news didn't trickle. It exploded. 3 hours after the injunction hit, I started getting calls from vendors, then texts from guys on the crew. By nightfall, even our plumber knew Laurel got locked out. Eric showed up the next morning. No call. Just knocked once and walked into my motel room holding 2 coffees. "She told me you were having breakdowns," he said, setting the cups down. "Said you were paranoid." I didn't say anything, just handed him the folder. He flipped through the pages fast at first, then slower, then stopped completely. His lips moved while he read. When he got to the part about him, too loyal to Dad, work on emotional angle, his shoulders dropped. "She was gonna use me," he whispered. "Like I was just part of the plan." I nodded once. "Now you see it." He looked up. I didn't know who to believe. I didn't want to pick sides. "You don't have to," I said. She already did. By noon, I had 2 emails from longtime clients asking if the rumors were true. One asked straight up, "Is Laurel under investigation for fraud?" I forwarded them both to Jenna, then sent back her clean summary, just the facts. No drama, no spin. Laurel's image started melting faster than I expected. Next day, another ping from Jamie. "Carla's bailing. Says Laurel's gone off the deep end. Tried forging your signature on a vendor agreement." I didn't even respond. I just called Jenna. She didn't ask for context, just said, "Got it." Filed the restraining order the same afternoon. The judge moved quick, ruled in my favor. Full temporary control of all company assets pending division. Laurel was barred from making purchases, signing contracts, or entering into any client negotiations. That meant no projects, no pitches, no partnerships. She was frozen. I walked through the office the next morning. Everyone acted normal, but you could feel the tension under the surface. Whispers, glances. Someone had taken down her framed awards in the hallway. Eric followed me into the break room. "She called me last night," he said. "Said you manipulated the court." I opened the fridge. "You believe her?" "No." "Then we're good." He nodded, but his face stayed tight. Like part of him still couldn't believe what she was capable of. I understood. Took me long enough to see it too. This was the ownership and divorce hearing, not the injunction. The injunction had only stopped her access. This decided the future. The courtroom was cold, not just the air, everything. The gray walls, the plastic chairs, the bored deputy standing by the door, it all felt like the inside of a walk-in freezer. I wore a navy suit, clean shave, got my hair cut that morning because I wasn't walking in there looking like the guy they tried to paint me as. Jenna sat beside me, sharp as ever, expression blank like always. Laurel showed up 15 minutes late, heels clicking like nothing was wrong. She wore that old gray blazer she used to break out for trade shows, back when we were still pretending we were building something together. No jewelry, no bag. Just a cheap notebook, and her lawyer, who looked like he'd spent the night Googling how to save a doomed case. The judge barely looked up at first. He flipped his wife, while involved, intentionally created a false narrative and a duplicate business structure to take full control without legal separation. Laurel's lawyer cleared his throat. Your Honor, this wasn't theft. This was modernization. She was adapting the business for long-term sustainability. The judge raised a hand. Save the buzzwords, he said. I've read it all. She used client poaching, employee targeting, and fraud to force out her husband. That's not modernization. That's a hostile takeover. Laurel didn't flinch, just stared straight ahead like none of this had anything to do with her. He kept flipping pages, slow and steady, then leaned back in his chair. You can't steal what you helped build just because you want it to look different, he said. Verdict came fast. I retained 100% ownership of the company. All business accounts, client lists, assets, and naming rights stayed with me. Laurel got her personal accounts, her car, and full rights to that consulting podcast she'd launched behind my back. No spousal support, no claim on future profits, not 1 cent. She didn't argue, didn't cry, didn't even speak. Just stood, grabbed her notebook, and walked out like the walls weren't closing in around her. I stayed seated for 10 more minutes after the hearing ended. No words, just breathing, in and out. Like I had to remind myself the war was finally over. 6 months went by, like I'd come out the other side of a car crash. The company didn't just survive, it took off. I hired 2 new project managers. Both came from firms we used to compete with. One of them told me flat out, your reputation's solid, hers, not so much. Eric stepped up big time. Showed up early, stayed late, handled clients like a pro. I promoted him to senior estimator, gave him a raise without waiting for him to ask. Jamie came on part-time as office coordinator, said it was the least she could do, but I knew better. She was trying to rebuild something for herself too. We moved into a bigger office off Route 12. More parking, more space, better layout. I made sure the sign on the front read Macklin Builders in bold steel letters. No more shared initials. No more shadows. Laurel's podcast dried up by month 3. I listened once out of curiosity. Same fake tone she used in sales meetings, like she was reading from a script she didn't believe in. Last I heard, she was consulting for little storefronts and yoga studios that hadn't heard the story yet. A mutual friend said she was renting a 1-bedroom in the suburbs. Same Volvo she used to brag about selling for a Tesla. Guess that plan fizzled too. I didn't care where she landed, only that she stayed gone. One afternoon, I stopped by Lowe's to grab some brackets for a custom shelving job, pushed my cart past the paint aisle, and there she was. Laurel, standing by the clearance bins, holding a can of primer. She looked smaller, not thinner, just less. No heels, no posture, no edge, just jeans and an oversized sweatshirt. Her hair pulled back in a way I'd never seen before. No makeup, no show. She glanced up, saw me, then looked down fast. I kept walking, didn't stop, didn't speak, didn't even feel much. Whatever part of me used to want answers was gone. That night, Eric and I were locking up after hours. He leaned against the front desk and looked at me. You ever think you'll talk to her again? I paused. For what? He shrugged. Closure? I grabbed my keys and nodded toward the lights. The truth already said it all. He didn't argue, just said, fair, and flipped the switch. We walked out side by side, no weight left on our backs. A year out from the divorce, I threw a party at the new office. We called it Customer Appreciation Night, printed the banners, posted it on the website. But truth was, it wasn't really for the clients. It was for us, the people who stayed, the ones who stuck it out when everything cracked open. We set up folding tables in the back lot, strung lights across the fence line, rolled out 2 smokers for ribs and brisket, cooler full of beer, kids running between the sawhorses, Old clients shaking hands with new ones. No speeches, no fake smiles. Just music, smoke, and the smell of wood and meat. Eric handled the grill. Jamie passed out plates. I floated, shook hands, kept things simple. Halfway through the evening, Eric clinked his fork on a beer bottle and got everyone's attention. "I just want to say something real quick," he said. "To my dad, the man who got stabbed in the back and still stood up taller than before." People clapped. Some gave quiet cheers. Jamie wiped her eyes and laughed. I raised my cup, but didn't say much. Just looked at the crowd and said, "Glad you're all here. Let's keep building." That was it. Didn't need a monologue. They knew. By 10, folks started packing up. Lights dimmed, tables folded, smokers shut down. Jamie waved goodbye. Eric locked up the front. After everyone was gone, I stood alone under the string lights I'd hung myself. The gravel was warm under my boots. Wind was quiet. Moon sitting high. I looked up at the building, at the sign above the glass doors. Macklin Builders. My name. No longer hers. I wasn't angry anymore. Wasn't chasing revenge or waiting on an apology that would never come. I was just clear. In the end, Laurel didn't break me. She showed me how much I could carry when everything else fell away. And that, it turns out, was the part she never saw coming. Do you think Eric should have cut his mom off completely or kept some kind of connection? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories.